Do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, I'm Sam. I'm an elder millennial, dietitian, specialist in weight management, and former functioning fat girl. I learned how to win at weight loss by breaking free from diet culture PTSD. My mission is to marry the science with practical, real-life strategies because we all know if it's not realistic, it's not happening. Are you ready to ditch diet culture and learn how to win at weight loss? Grab your water bottle and let's go. Friends, are you stuck? Do you feel like a weight loss failure? You need a breakthrough session. I'm so happy to be offering a 1-hour, one-on-one coaching session that I call the Winning at Weight Loss Breakthrough Session. This session is designed to break through the barriers holding you back from finally winning at weight loss. We dive deep into your current weight struggles, what's holding you back, and what your bags are, your big, hairy, audacious goals. You'll learn what the most practical, tactical, and realistic steps are you can implement immediately to finally break through and start achieving sustainable weight loss. You'll receive a completely customized game plan designed just for you, the recording of our session to keep forever, and an accountability follow-up 1 week later to see how it's going. This is such great value that I only have 10 spots per month available. Go to bit.ly/win at weight loss now to book your Winning at Weight Loss Breakthrough session. Stop spinning your wheels trying to throw spaghetti at the wall, pun totally intended, to find something that finally kickstarts your progress. Get your customized game plan and start winning at weight loss now. I can't wait to meet you. That's bit.ly, B as in boy, it.ly/win at weight loss now. bit.ly/win at weight loss now. Okay, let's hop into today's episode. I can remember it like it was yesterday, and I'm getting pretty old, so this is definitely one of those markers in life you just never forget. But I can remember being in elementary school, and I'd wait for my dad to fall asleep on the couch at night so I could tiptoe into the kitchen, sneak into the pantry, load up on all his Little Debbie snack cakes, fudge rounds, hello, if you know, you know. Whatever other chocolate or snacks were stashed in there, and then tiptoe into my room and just binge it out. How I thought I could get away with that and like my parents wouldn't know, I have absolutely no idea. I guess I wasn't as savvy as I thought I was. But the point is, I lived in that house with my parents who were both a quote unquote normal weight. My mom is tiny. She claims 5'2", but that's a stretch. She's about the size of my pinky and has been my whole life. My dad is 5'9", and he's been like more of a beanpole my whole life. Long, skinny legs, muscular upper body because he's always had a physical job. And unfortunately for me, the man has always eaten about a pound of chocolate a week. There's always snacks, always sweets around. He's just one of those, one of those. He indulges and certainly can eat too much at times, but for the most part, he eats when he's hungry. He stops when he's satisfied. And despite the fact that he does love his sweets, he's able to stop when he's had enough. Like, what is that? I don't know. Growing up, I was always on a diet. My parents were always concerned about my weight, but I grew up in the wild west of 80s and 90s diet culture. There were no specialized pediatric recommendations for healthy growth and weight management. My parents are the absolute best, and they did the absolute best they could with what they knew and had at the time. But it was bonkers. I was going to Weight Watchers meetings with old ladies as a child, and I had 2 older brothers and a dad that I shared a kitchen with, and because they weren't on a diet, all of those foods were readily available right there for them, but calling to me. And nobody could understand why it was so hard for me to just not eat them. Imagine that. It seems so ludicrous to say out loud now, but I have to tell you, I see it and hear it all the time when I'm working with clients. Sneaking food and isolating, eating and hiding, it became my normal. It only got worse as I got older. When I was in high school, I worked at Publix, which is one of our main grocery stores here in Florida, and I would buy a bunch of junk, sneak it into my bedroom, and binge by myself in my bedroom. I would get a trash bag for all the wrappers and stuff, hide that in my backpack, and then throw it away at a random public trash can on my way to school the next day. I've always known, like even as a young kid, tiptoeing past my dad snoring on the couch, that what I was doing was not normal per se. I didn't have the words to put to it. I didn't know what food noise was, or sabotage, or especially self-sabotage. But I did know that what I was doing had to remain a secret because it was wrong. Well, hey friends, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to another episode of the More Than a Number podcast. So I want you to be honest with me. Have you ever tried to lose weight while living with people who are absolutely not trying to lose weight? My example was as a kid growing up in a house with other people, but there are so many different scenarios of sharing a kitchen with your spouse, significant other, roommate, or your own kids. I work with moms all the time that tell me it's so hard for them because they have to stock the kitchen for their kids, and it's so tempting to see all that food all the time. Like you're over here meal prepping, focusing on your high protein diet, trying to get your life together, and someone walks in with pizza or Chick-fil-A or a box of donuts the size of your head. Yeah. I just had a client tell me yesterday that they're struggling with snacking at night because his wife eats oatmeal cookies at night, and so he eats oatmeal cookies at night. If you're nodding your head right now, this episode is for you, because today we're talking about something that does not get nearly enough attention in the weight loss space, and that is your environment and the people surrounding you matter just as much as your plan. You can have the perfect meal prep strategy. You can follow a high protein diet. You can do whatever you're doing to try to lose weight fast. But if your environment is working against you, it's going to feel 10 times harder than it needs to. One of the biggest misconceptions in weight loss is that success comes down to having the perfect plan. The perfect macros, the perfect meal prep routine, the perfect grocery list. But let's be real, most of you listening already know the basics of what to do. You know that protein matters, you know that movement matters, you know that consistency matters. Like we talked about in the last episode, the issue isn't totally the information itself. Sometimes it is, but not always. The issue is the execution of that plan in real life, because weight loss doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're not the bubble boy from Seinfeld. It happens in your kitchen, in your home, around your family, at social events, during really stressful, chaotic weeks. And if your plan only works when everything is calm, cool, and collected, it's not a real plan. It's not a strategy, at least. Now let's talk about something very important. Most of the time, I should emphasize most of the time, the people around you are not intentionally trying to sabotage you. But that doesn't mean that your environment and the people closest to you aren't making things harder. So let's consider another example. You're trying to lose weight, you've got your meal prep ready, you're focusing on your high protein meals, Meanwhile, your partner is ordering takeout. Your kids have snacks everywhere. Your coworkers are bringing in treats. Your family and friends are saying, oh, come on, just live a little, just have one. And suddenly, you feel like you're the only one trying. That can feel very isolating and super frustrating, especially if you're a people pleaser like me, which a lot of women are. We feel bad if we don't participate or comply with other people's requests. You know, Susie at work made her world famous, peanut butter bars and offers it to you, and you feel bad saying no. Well, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to lose weight. And Susie's like, oh, but I made them. I knew you would love them. And, just try a little bit. And then before you know it, you're shoving a peanut butter bar in your mouth. And over time, it can really wear you down. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. So let's layer something on top of that. When we're trying to lose weight fast, which, let me state this for the record, I am not condoning. If you've followed me, my journey, or listened to this show before, you know I don't love super restrictive plans. However, sometimes there are people in seasons who just want to go balls to the wall and get her done. And when your plan is super restrictive, it becomes even harder to navigate real life, which is why I don't love it as a long-term option. But let's say you're trying to follow a strict low-carb diet, and your family is a crazy Italian family like mine, and they're eating pasta for dinner. Now you're making separate meals, you're feeling left out, you're starting to feel bitter and resentful, or eventually you say, ugh, forget it, it's just too hard to keep things separate, and you end up eating it anyways. This is where that all or nothing cycle kicks in, the binge restrict cycle. You're strict, and then you slip, and then you spiral, and then you restart again. And now you're not just dealing with food issues, you're dealing with emotions, sensitive relationships, and all sorts of expectations. So let's normalize something. If you live with someone else, anyone else, you are not the only person in your kitchen. And this is where I see so many people get stuck. They think, well, if my family doesn't eat like me or follow the plan that I'm following, then I can't succeed. So what's the point in even trying? But that's not true. What is true is you just need a strategy that works in that shared environment. Because your spouse, your kids, your family, they may not have the same goals as you. And that's okay. We don't need everyone to eat exactly like us. Although, I will say, for the record, I think that there are a lot of people who don't believe that improvements in their eating habits make a difference just because they don't need to lose weight. But most of those people could certainly benefit from eating a little healthier, right? Like we can all do a little bit better to be more healthy. It doesn't have to be about weight, but I digress. We do need a plan that allows us to stay consistent without creating that constant tension within those relationships. Because remember, we can't change other people. Like if somebody doesn't want to hear it and they don't want to make any changes or, better choices in their eating, then they're just simply not going to. So we want to avoid that constant tension. Now, let's talk about what true support is, what that actually looks like, because I think this is where a lot of people get tripped up. Support does not mean that everyone diets with you, that everyone eats exactly what you eat, or that everyone changes their habits. That's just not realistic. Support can look like, should look like, not pressuring you to eat things you don't want to eat, respecting your goals, encouraging you instead of criticizing, keeping certain foods separate if needed, My client I told you about with the oatmeal cookies shared with me that his wife knows he's trying to be healthier and lose weight, but she presents him with the cookies when she eats them by telling him he's done so great all day. He can have a couple cookies. Come on. In a sense, she is making it seem like she's giving them to him out of love. And to her, honestly, that may very well be. She may think that. But it makes him feel bad saying no. And then he's not only able to eat, one cookie. So then he ends up binging when he didn't want to do that. Sometimes real support is just simply saying, hey, I see what you're trying to do. I respect it, and I'm going to help you however I can. And here's the truth. If you don't communicate what you need from other people, they can't support you because they don't know how. And that's on us, not on them. So let's make this practical because, first of all, I never want you leaving an episode like, okay, cool, but what do I actually do? Especially this one. Like, great, got it. My family is sabotaging me. Awesome. Now what? Excommunicate the family? No. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is communicate clearly, not emotionally, clearly. Hey, this is something I'm working on right now. Here's what would really help me. This is what I need from you. You don't need permission, but you do need clarity. Then we want to create personal defaults in the way of food. So you need go-to meals that are super simple, super easy, simple, high protein meals, things that you don't have to overthink. Because when life gets busy, you fall back on what's easy. So let's make the right things, the better things, the more nutritious things, the easy things. We need to build a flexible structure. So you don't need completely separate meals. You can have the same dinner, but with small adjustments. That's one of the things that I hear so often from women, especially because not that men don't cook, but a lot of times the women or the wives are the cooks and they're cooking for the family. So I hear from clients all the time, like, well, it's just so exhausting to have to cook 3 separate meals, like one for me, one for my husband, and one for my kids. You don't need completely separate meals. You can have basically the same dinner, but just make small adjustments. Either, add more of the protein to your plate, adjust your portions, a little less of whatever the carb is. Just balance your meal more to your eating pattern, This is how you stay consistent without totally isolating yourself. And then this is a big one. We all need to remember this in all circumstances, but especially with our food. Remember, we can only control what we can control. We cannot control what our partner eats, what our kids eat, what shows up at a party or in the break room at work, but we can control our own plate, our own choices, our own habits. And that's where our power lies. And finally, if you've listened to the pod before, you guys already know we're bringing it back to identity because this is literally everything. Most people are operating from, I'm trying to lose weight, which means temporary. We're on a diet. So eventually we're going to come off of it. Start and restart. But what if instead it became, I'm a healthy person who takes care of myself, even when life isn't perfect, even in a busy house, even with snacks all over God's creation, even when things aren't ideal, because your consistency cannot depend on perfect conditions. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is exactly my problem. I feel like I'm doing everything right, but real life keeps throwing me off. These are things that are exactly what we solve inside my Winning at Weight Loss breakthrough session. Because in that session, we don't just talk about what to eat. We look at where your plan is actually breaking down currently, your environment, the people around you, and where the issues lie there, your routines, your habits, your real life. As I've said before, and will say again, we build a strategy that works on your hardest weeks, not just your motivated ones. Because a plan that only works when life is perfect is never going to create long-term weight loss and weight maintenance. We need a strategy that works in any and all circumstances and seasons of life. So to recap, you don't need a better diet per se. I mean, you might, but that's usually not the main problem. You need a strategy that works in your real life. Meal prep helps, a high protein diet helps, even a low carb diet can help in certain situations. But none of it works if your environment and the people around you are not supporting your efforts. And if you don't learn how to navigate it, we're going to be in trouble. The main key to navigating that is engaging in honest, clear communication with those you share a kitchen with and also work or other environments you spend a lot of time in. Then we need to create personal default foods or meals, build a flexible structure, focus on controlling only what we can control, and make it your identity, not a temporary diet. Because you are not broken. You're just living in the real world, and you need a real life strategy. All right, friends. I hope this episode blessed you and added value to your journey. I will see you right back here next week. I love you, and God loves you. Have a blessed week. Hey, friend. I hope you feel empowered by this episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with another friend who needs it? Also, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews are what helps it get seen by more people who need it. Okay, time to go show up for myself, and I hope you do the same. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Have a blessed day.